Congratulations, you have made it to the final episode of my Furry Protogen. I'm only slightly disappointed in your choices. But a lot of you have been asking, and I decided, if we reach 2,500 subscribers on Twitch, I will release the lewd cut. If you or a loved one has been diagnosed with the thirst, come on down to my subathon, which is happening and live right now, where we just edited this video you're about to watch. It'll be an OnlyFans exclusive or a Fansly exclusive. I have not decided yet, but you can help get us there. Every subscription extends the length of the time I have to spend streaming, and your support helps support the channel. But I know how you guys are. So if you want the horny cut, consider coming to subscribe to my channel at twitch.tv/Raeal the Protogen. Link is in the description below. We've also got some other awesome incentives. We've got some amazing games planned for this stream. So if you do like what you see, consider subscribing and consider coming down to the channel more often where I can play games that you guys like. With that being said, enjoy the videos, you degenerates.
Okay, we know what kind of game this is now. Hello, everybody. My name is Raeal the Protogen, and welcome back to my Furry Protogen. This is part 4 of the game. And in the last episode, Juno and I got to know each other really well. I got to knock something off my bucket list. Yeah! I called her Miss Juno in more than one way. And you know what? Worth it. So we're going to continue on with the game. In the last episode, we found out there's a virus going around that's probably being created. So I think in this episode, we're going to figure out why it's being created. I have no idea. And we'll get a naked Juno from time to time. Hey, about that fan art. We continued to work on the medicine. In the incessant race against time, the only place we found solace was in each other's arms. Next to each other, we could really relax, throw away all our thoughts. I understood that soon we would have to cross another line in our rapidly developing relationship, but I was terribly worried because I had never been with a girl before. When the next day came to an end, Juno and I went to the sleeping compartment. It was a huge bed on which we now slept together. Ah, we share the same bed! Yes! By the way, she's very soft. She's very soft. Oh my god! Juno didn't get into the capsule anymore, deciding that the bed was big enough for the two of us. God! Naked! Ah! I can't show that! I immediately just can't show anything. It's like they're trying to cause me a problem on you. I downloaded this knowing fully well what I was getting myself into. Okay, enjoy some stupid pictures I probably put on top of these things. The next day! God damn it, dude. I forgot we're trying to cure a virus. Oh my god. Maybe we should actually focus on that, please. Work on the cure wasn't easy. Every day we became more and more convinced that we were dealing with a much more dangerous thing than just a simple virus. Juno spent more and more time in the laboratory, and we went down from the ship to Earth less and less. From the height of our jet, it was clearly visible how the virus was devouring forests. They turned black as if a flame had passed over them, and when we went down to take samples, even the birds couldn't be heard. The whole planet seemed to be dying right before our eyes. That is such a terrifying prospect, that a disease could wipe out all the plant life and animal life on the planet. Sorry, Raeal, but it seems to me that everything is much more serious than we thought. I was lying on the bed looking at the ceiling. Juno and I had been working in the lab all day. Well, she worked for the most part, and I just hung around and too tired to lend a helping hand at every opportunity. Well, I think so too. If I can't do anything, Juno, don't. You can. I sat up on the bed and took her hand. Juno looked at me with a sadness on her face. Not that powerful, Raeal. I might not succeed, and then I want you to... Let's just not think about it, okay? Let's look at things more positively. We still have time, right? Well, I hope so. Great, then let's just get distracted for now, okay? Oh my god! Can I go 5 minutes in the game? Please! Oh my god! This fucking music is going to haunt me, I swear to god. Dude, the amount of Protogen... The next day! The amount of Protogen boob in this episode has been great. Oh, hi, Miss Juno. Hello. You ready for research? You know, we've been doing a lot of research the last couple days. And I have to say, it's been very nice researching with you. You know, sometimes it's good to get to know your coworker on a personal level, you know? The moment of truth awaits us tomorrow. Already? Juno nodded. If this attempt fails, I don't know what else to do. This virus seems to be mutating. It spreads to the carriers and devours them in a matter of hours. That's why it's so difficult to get the cure out. We will succeed. If not now, then it'll be too late. I'm sorry to say this, Raeal, but that's what I'm afraid of, that it'll be too late. I was thinking about going to my parents. If you don't mind, I want to see them, make sure they're all right. I think they have already realized that something terrible is happening. Of course. this is the right decision, but I'll give you a protective suit. You can't land without it right now. You could get infected, and then I don't want you to think about what might happen then. I don't want to lose you. Juno looked at me with a sad look. You won't. I promise. Everything will be fine. Don't worry, Miss Juno. I am a strong, independent proto. Nothing can take me. Not even a biologically engineered virus. Juno came up to me and hugged me. My hands went to her waist by themselves and slid to the curves of her hips. Raeal, I want you so... Again! Can I please go 5 minutes? Please? 5 minutes! The next day. Can we go like 5 minutes? Can 5 minutes without having to cut out 10 minutes of footage, please? I'm getting exactly what I wanted with Juno, but at what cost? I can't show any of it. I found Juno in the lab next morning. Today, I knew would be the day of all days. Juno was visibly nervous. She got up before me, took a shower, and then immediately sat down in the laboratory. When I found her, she was standing at one of the devices, fully dressed and watching the numbers on the display that only she understood. I walked over and stood behind her, putting my hand on her back between her shoulder blades. Well, any progress? Juno sighed. She was extremely tense. I could feel her muscles tensing under my hand. Well, no, when the analysis is over. If everything worked out, then we have a cure. I'll give it to you right away, and then we will figure out how to give it to the whole planet. Correct. We need to do this at all costs, but this analysis will solve everything. Come on, there's no point in standing here. Nothing depends on you anymore. I tried to lead Juno away, putting my arm around her shoulders, but she insisted on staying. No, I'll stay here. I don't want anything to go wrong with the computers. She's so sad. I don't want her to be sad. Besides, I can't think about anything else. I'd rather find the results as soon as possible and tell you. I sighed, realizing that I wouldn't be able to argue right now. When necessary, she was incredibly stubborn. There was nothing I could do about it. Okay, stay here. You mind if I take a jet and visit my village? I'd been thinking about this for the last few months. For some reason, I felt that nothing good was waiting for me there, but I understood that I had to do it. This is the first indication of time moving in this story, like few months. So it's been at least a few months, and he's been thinking about it for the last few months. So how long has it actually been? It no longer mattered how my parents and the residents of the village would greet me. It didn't matter what they would say, whether they called me crazy. The most important thing was to save them, and do everything in my power to do so. And if suddenly it didn't work out, I tried not to think about it. I didn't want to let dark thoughts take control over me, but I couldn't completely banish these thoughts from my head. After all, it was a possibility that we simply wouldn't be able to help anyone. Of course, I believed that Juno would invent the cure, but I understood by that time I would have to face the heavy losses. Not everyone would survive this epidemic, and maybe my village wouldn't survive either. Therefore, my personal problems about being the chosen, the resentment of the villagers against me, my resentment against them, seemed negligible now. And if it didn't work out, I just had to meet them to apologize and say that despite the escape, I still loved them. Juno wasn't against my idea. When she heard my words, she smiled and nodded. Of course, be sure to go to your parents. I think they've missed you. I will tell them hello from you. Turning around, I headed towards the exit. Raeal! Juno's voice sounded strained. I turned around. Don't tell anyone about me or the cure yet, would you? Your secret is safe with me, Miss Juno. Don't worry about a thing. I will protect you. I don't know what will happen. There's no need to give false hope in advance. Just visit them and that's it, okay? Juno was right. No matter how hard it was to admit it, I couldn't tell anyone about her. Definitely not now. After all, the future was still unclear. Would something come out of this analysis? Was there anything we could do? Okay, I get it. I'll be back soon. Oh boy, back to the village we go. I still didn't know how to fly a jet. For me, it was real magic. It was easier to learn to move objects with the power of thought. But fortunately for me, Pixie, to whom I had managed to get used to and even become attached to over the last few weeks, coped with this task perfectly. As soon as we flew up the river and on the bank of which I once met Juno, Pixie warned me that it wasn't safe outside. Uh-oh. No, did the virus make it to the village already? Please, Raeal, put on the protective suit that Juno gave you. I'm afraid the virus infection rate in this area is very high. I felt my heart stop in my chest. It shrank with horror for a moment. Was it too late already? I obediently put on the suit, waiting with bated breath for the landing. The jet, to my surprise, flew almost all the way to the village and didn't drop me off at the river. Oh no. When I stepped on the ground, I immediately saw that I was too late. My village, once a beautiful, wealthy place, lay in ruins. The grass underfoot was withered and blackened, and the trees stood bare as if they had been devoured by flames. Here and there lay the corpses of animals, livestock, wild animals from the forest, but as soon as I set foot on the territory of the village, the picture only got worse. There, behind the fence, the corpses of people were waiting for me. Cold goosebumps ran down my back. My skin seemed to be covered with frost. I froze, looking at this terrible, tragic landscape in shock. People were lying everywhere on the ground. Among the destroyed houses, among the corpses of animals, Our neighbors were there. Stefan was there, who sewed me a suit for my birthday. Damien was there. My teachers, girls with whom I'd once went on dates, elders, healers. My throat felt like someone else's hand was squeezing it. It became so hard to breathe I almost suffocated, as if something was stuck in my lungs. Everything lay in burning ruins. Almost all the houses were destroyed. I walked past the dead bodies, pale with dried black blood at the mouth. Their eyes were fixed high to the sky, bleached white. Cloudy. Nausea stirred in my stomach. I barely restrained the urge, but pulled myself together in time and ran towards the house. I ran without taking apart the road. It was as if my legs were carrying me. Although now it was almost impossible to distinguish the streets, everything was equally destroyed. Smell of rotten flesh in my nose. My heart was pounding furiously. Only one thought was beating in my head. If only I could make it. If only I could. If only. I didn't know who I was praying to. I didn't believe in any higher powers, but now my disbelief had receded, giving away to stupid, confused prayers. Please, let Mom and Dad be okay. Let them wait for me. Let me see them at least once. I broke into our house. It was unusually quiet, cold, and lonely. The door was torn off its hinges. All the decorations in the house were piled on the floor. It seemed like a tornado had passed through here. I'd only ever seen such a mess. My hands trembled. I only managed to push out, "Mom, Dad, it's me. Mom, Dad, are you here?" No one answered me. It was as if no one had been here for a long time, and life had left this place weeks ago. Frost ran over my skin, chilling to the bone, even through the suit. It was so cold in here. I went further into the house. When I got to my parents' room, I froze when I heard a strangled, wet cough. Someone's still alive! Wait! At that same moment, I burst into the room, literally knocking out the already flimsy door. Mom! My heart sank to my heels. I saw my mom lying on the bed. She was as pale as the sheet, as if all the blood had been drained out of her. Her lips were blue. She was breathing raggedly, wetly. A dried trail of black blood was already trailing from the corner of her mouth. Mom! Mom! I fell on my knees in front of her, trying to wake her up, trying somehow to bring her to her senses. Her hand in mine was so cold that even through the protective suit, I could feel how icy it was. Raeal, son, is that you? Yes, Mom, it's me. I'm back. Do you hear me? I'm here with you. What a joy. I'm so glad you're back. Where have you been, honey? Your dad and I have missed you terribly, terribly. She broke off with a hoarse cough. I jumped up from my seat and looked for a bowl of water, but then I realized water must be from a well. Juno had said that everything was infected, including the forest, animals, and water. Returning to my mother's bed with nothing, I collapsed to my knees and squeezed her hand again. Mom, I'm so sorry. What happened here? Where is everyone? We were attacked by wild animals. They came running out of the forest as if distraught and began to destroy everything, attacking us. We tried to defend ourselves, but it didn't work. It didn't work out, honey. And Dad, where is he? Mom looked at me with wide eyes. Once they were a completely different color, and her lips trembled. Dad passed away. Dude! Ah, fuck! I'm actually sad. Like, what the fuck? After these animals suddenly appeared, almost everyone in the village was infected with that strange ailment. Dad was helping the survivors, so he immediately fell down. I couldn't do anything, Raeal. Anything. A tear rolled down her temple, and I suddenly realized that I was also sobbing. Tears were streaming down my face. It became difficult to breathe in the suit. The helmet was fogging up. But Mom didn't seem to see it at all. No strange clothes on me, no flashing lights. She looked me straight in the eyes, and that only made my heart hurt more. Sorry, Mom. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I left. It is unforgivable. You were all right. I shouldn't have left. The prophecy came true, and then... Damn it. It's all my fault. You all died because of me. I barely restrained myself from hitting the floor with my fist. Rage and guilt bubbled in me. They squeezed my heart so hard that I couldn't do anything about it. I couldn't bring myself to calm down. All my life, I'd been told that I should stay where I was born. I was told that I had a huge responsibility on my shoulders, and I was too selfish to accept it. And now the people most dear to me, my parents, had died. And my native village, the place where I grew up, where I spent my whole life, lay in ruin. It was all my fault. And the realization of this suffocated me, cut like a knife. I was scared, but at the same time, I understood that nothing could be fixed. How to live on with this guilt? What are you saying, Raeal? I left, and the prophecy said that if I left, our village would be destroyed, and here it is. It's all because I ran away like a coward, all because of me. I continued to sob, strangled, but when I looked up at my mother, afraid to see contempt, accusation, anger in her eyes, all this wasn't there. Mom smiled weakly, with blue lips, looking at me with a bleary look. You know when it all started, Raeal? When these animals came and then the people got infected and started dying? All Dad and I thought about and thanked Mother of Heaven for was that you were not here. That you probably escaped and were now somewhere far away, safe. Mom, forgive us, darling. Sorry that we forced you to live the way you didn't want to. Dad and I are we love you very much. Promise me you'll remember this forever. No matter what happens, promise me you won't be mad at us anymore. We realized we were wrong, honey. We were really sorry. Mom, what are you saying? Of course I forgive you. I'm not mad at you. Mom! Mom smiled. She squeezed my hand in hers with the last of her strength. My fingers were shaking violently. Good. He whispered the word in a barely audible hoarse voice, and at that moment her chest, heaving with heavy, slow breathing, stopped. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The smile froze on her lips. She stopped breathing. I jumped up and grabbed her by the shoulders. Mom, no! Mom! Mom, wake up! Mom, we'll find a cure! Mom, wake up! Come on! But it was too late. There was no one to save. My throat was filled with sobs again. I couldn't even touch my mom. I couldn't kiss her on the forehead goodbye. Somehow, managing myself, I took a blanket and covered her body. Sorry, Mom. Sorry it happened. Having said these words, I flew out of the house, and as soon as I was outside, I fell to my knees, right into the dirty ground, wet from the rain, and screamed with all of my strength. I screamed until I tore out my throat. I beat the ground with my fists. The world around me was breaking into pieces, into small pieces. Only when I had no strength left, I went limp on the ground. I wanted to visit this place for the last time. The last time, I remembered walking along the streets, training with Damien, helping my father in the garden. Everything was lost. I had nothing left, nothing but Juno. And as soon as her name flashed in my head, I jumped up from the ground and ran towards the jet. God, we just got hit with a lot of heavy shit. Look, I know we've been having fun with this series, and it's been a fun comedic time, but like, wow. I'm actually distraught right now. That was oh man. I had a feeling something like that was going to happen, that his village was already going to be gone by the time he went there. It was just kind of setting it up for it while they were trying to find a cure, but wow, man. Anyway, Pixie greeted me and asked if everything was okay. Your condition is unstable, Raeal. It doesn't matter. Take me to Juno. Yes, Raeal. The flight passed from me in a kind of trance. I could only see the face of my mother who had died in my arms, and I blamed myself for her death because I should have been there. I should have come back earlier. What did I do? I ran away like a coward, looking for my dream. Well, I had such a responsibility, but it was too late to lament about it. I was enveloped in such a rage as I had never experienced before, and it was directed only at one creature, at the cursed anomaly. I was ready to lay down my life to take revenge, to destroy this something, whoever or whatever it was, whatever created it. Once I was finally on the ship, I flew into Juno's lab. We urgently need to kill this damn anomaly, now! Juno was sitting in a chair. She looked extremely downcast. Her shoulders were slumped. Her gaze was fixed somewhere on the floor. I jumped up to her and shook her by her shoulders. Juno, we urgently need to destroy this filth. I was shaking all over, but Juno only responded in a lifeless voice. It's impossible. Oh no, can we not cure it? How is that impossible? What are you even talking about? Juno continued to look down, her hands on her hips. She looked tired and completely destroyed. What are you talking about, Juno? I couldn't create a cure? Juno looked up at me. These samples, it didn't work out. What we have isn't enough. I'll need more time, a month, 6 months, a year. I don't know. It's not possible right now. Sorry, Raeal. I'm sorry about what happened. I was rushing around the lab. What do you mean impossible? You said we could do it. You said we were halfway to the goal. And now what are you saying? Don't take it out on her. Do not take it out on her. You knew this was a possibility going into this. Do not take it out on my darling Juno. I will protect her, damn it. I'm sorry, but I couldn't have known that. The attempt failed. I don't know what else to do. I need more time. How much longer? My parents are dead. Everyone is dead. How much more time is needed? Juno looked up at me, startled. Raeal. Oh, I'm so sorry. I covered my face with my hands, trying to breathe and not let the tears come to my eyes. Tell me where the anomaly is. You said you knew. I'm going to go and destroy this shit, whatever it is. Juno shook her head empathetically. You crazy? Raeal, I understand your pain. Believe me, I understand what it's like to lose dear ones. But you can't rush into the pool with your head like that. We don't know what kind of anomaly it is. You'll just die. You don't even have immunity. Yes, but I don't care about this immunity. I'm going to destroy this thing. Just tell me where it is. Can't. Juno, didn't you hear? My parents are dead. My whole village, all destroyed. Some were torn apart by wild animals. Others got infected and died. There's no one left. Nothing. Emptiness. I don't care how dangerous it'll be. I just want to avenge them. I'm ready for anything. Do you hear? Just tell me where to go. Oh no, we made her go. We made her shut down her screen. Juno was silent for several minutes. She stared at me in silence, her helmet expressionless, as if she had just blacked out for a few moments. But I knew she hadn't, and I was waiting for her answer. Somewhere deep in my soul, behind the tornado of rage and despair, I understood what a difficult, almost insurmountable step for Juno it was. When I pushed her to sending me, the last survivor, to certain death. The one she was attached to, the one who literally forced her to get attached, begged, stayed by her side, and now I asked to let me go. I knew what she was thinking. I knew that she understood that she was responsible for me, and I was condemning her to a terrible fate, to be the only survivor again. But the despair in my gaze was too obvious, too bright. I was like a dying animal. I couldn't stay. Juno, as if seeing from my look that it was useless to dissuade me, that this was my only chance to somehow avenge my parents, silently nodded. Just sat there for a few moments, not moving, clutching the arms of the chair, then in a lifeless voice said, "Pixie, take Raeal where he wants, to the anomaly." "Yes, Juno." Raeal, proceed to the jet. Stood in front of her, not daring to take a single step. Gradually, the rage began to ease. My hands clenched to fists. I wanted to hug her. I wanted to promise that I would come back. But what was the point of making promises that I couldn't keep? That's a Halo reference! I want to come back, though. I'm coming back, right? I'm coming back into my loving, darling Juno's arms. You can't keep me out of loving, darling Juno's arms. Not like that, please. Let me at least have a chance to come back. After all, I understood that the chance of returning was negligible, but I wanted to take a chance, though I no longer understood what for. Everyone I cared about was dead, except Juno. Honestly, I know you're upset at your parents and your village is dead. That's losing your entire life. I do understand that completely. Let logic take over, though, for a little bit. Please understand that Juno and you are in love. I am in love with Juno, and I want to stay with Juno because she got big bonkaga hoops, and I want to squeeze them. Only she stayed by my side. Only she was with me, and I was going to leave her. I was going to leave. Is that what friends do? Is that what lovers do? But I didn't stay. Thank you, Juno. Thanks for everything. Juno didn't say anything, just turned away, not wanting to watch me walk towards the jet as the doors closed behind me. I felt like a double traitor, because now I was going to drag Juno again through what had happened to her when Toshi died. But I didn't have any choice. I couldn't save my family. I couldn't change the course of things. I wanted to be able to at least avenge them. Even if I die, even if it was the last thing I do in this life. When Pixie brought me to the indicated place before leaving, I asked, "Pixie, can you give Juno a message in case I don't come back?" I knew I didn't have much of a chance. All I had at my disposal was rage. I didn't even know what I was going to fight against. Of course, Raeal. What should I tell her? I thought for a couple moments. There was a lot I wanted to say, but I didn't have the time for it, and I didn't want Juno to be too hurt while she would listen to it. Tell her I love her, that it wasn't her fault. It will be done, Raeal. Oh no, I miss my darling Juno. Miss Juno! I smiled at Pixie even though it couldn't see it. Thank you, Pixie. You're a nice helper. Keep an eye on Juno. Of course, Raeal, but I still hope that you will come back. I didn't answer and stepped onto the black earth, dying from the disease. Am I wearing my protection? The next day. Oh no, we're having regrets already. See, that's what happens when you leave a good thing behind. You get the regretty spaghetti and you start double thinking and double checking yourself. When it's too late, you can't go back. It's too late. You can't go back. Juno was right. I shouldn't have started all this. Maybe it would have been better if I just stayed on the ship with her, tried to find the cure, thought out a plan, and then went to take revenge, but it didn't matter now. It was too late to replay. I couldn't turn back time, though I would like to. I was lying on the withered dark grass looking at the sky. It was incredibly beautiful, only the sky seemed to be untouched by the disease. Clouds slowly floated over my head. Telia, with condemnation and sorrow, watched me die. This was expected, of course. What was I thinking? The cave in which the anomaly was hiding glowed bright red and turned out to be overflowing with animals. They were already deeply ill and completely distraught. Therefore, I didn't have a chance to break through. I was just trampled. I could feel my whole body whining in pain. I must have had a good half of my bones broken. There was a taste of blood in my mouth, and a broken nose made it difficult to breathe. But despite this, I still looked up at the sky, admiring the beauty of this world for the last time. Maybe the next life was waiting for me. Maybe there was the Mother of Heaven after all, and there, in her village, my parents were already waiting for me, waiting for all those who died because of me. Mother of Heaven would probably be terribly displeased with me. After all, she gave me a task, and I failed at it so shamefully. And what would the villagers say? Oh, they'd be furious. They had been telling me for so many years that I'd save them, and where was I now? I didn't save anyone, and I couldn't even avenge them. Probably, after all, it wasn't me who should have been chosen, but Damien. He definitely wouldn't have left his people, not like I did. If fate really existed, if there was a Mother of Heaven and Lit, then they had decided that I was decommissioned material, and my destiny was to die like this, here, all alone, under the weight of unspeakable guilt. What a strange thing fate was, after all. Even when it was predetermined, it could throw up surprises, but it was all my fault, and I was ready to accept the punishment with honor. The next day! A measured squeak came to me, as if through a column of water. It was hard to breathe. My body tingled, my fingers didn't obey. Huh? Barely opened my eyes and looked at the ceiling. There was no sky above me anymore, only dark metal. Tried to call for help, opened my dry lips, but only a wheeze escaped from my mouth. Tears rolled down my temples. It took me a while to figure out what was going on. Where am I? Am I dead? When the control over my body began to slowly return, I got up from the place where I was lying. Did Juno come save us? It turned out to be a bed, quite soft and comfortable. I had some wires attached to my arm, which stretched to a strange device and that looked like a box. What the? Somehow swung my feet to the floor. I raised my hands, rubbed my eyes several times. Where was I? Was this all real? Juno? My voice was too hoarse to shout. I coughed and breathed greedily. Tears sprang out of my eyes again. Somehow I got up and went in search of Juno. It was her ship. I wouldn't have confused it with anything else. Where's my darling Juno? Yeah. Oh my god. Okay, I'm so glad you're okay. I found Juno at the control panel. She was sitting at the captain's chair looking out the huge window at the small planet that now seemed even smaller. Or were we just moving? Juno? Juno turned around. When she saw me, she jumped up, froze, not knowing what to do next. She didn't seem to know how to react, what to say. My throat tightened with a spasm. I coughed dryly again. Raeal. Juno finally flew up to me. When she was only a meter away from me, she rushed into my arms, squeezed me tightly, pressing her whole body against me. Ah! Juno, I missed you so much! It was so dark down there and everything was scary and the anomaly was in the cave and there were animals that trampled me and broke my bones, but now you're here giving me a warm, soft hug. My head is in the perfect spot. Ah! Hey, now that I'm back on the ship, what you doing later? How you doing? You wanna go? Maybe we can study biology again sometime? Maybe, that'd be nice. How glad I am, Raeal. What happened? How long did I sleep? Juno pulled away from me, her gaze sad and gloomy. Wait, what's happening? For a long time, how long? Juno looked guilty for some reason. A month. I looked around as if there might be some clues in my memory. My last moments are preserved only in fragment. I licked my dry lips and noticing a bottle of water immediately picked it up and took a greedy sip. The fingers trembled even more. What happened? I remember dying, I think. I don't know if this is really true or if it was a dream. I found you at the cave with the anomaly. You were badly hurt. I took you away. You were still breathing, but then it turned out that you were infected. So sorry, Raeal. I've been working all month trying to do everything in my power. I haven't left your side, but I did it. There is a cure, but it only helped you. Forgive me. Forgive you? Are you kidding, Juno? You saved my life. Thank you. I'll be forever in your debt. Juno gave me a crooked smile, but her whole body still expressed an extreme degree of sadness and guilt, so I went over and shook her hand. Really, Juno, it's not your fault. You saved me. Juno sobbed. I shouldn't have let you go. How stupid I am. Why did I just tell you about this damn anomaly? I should have kept silent. I should have just lied. Because of me, you were on the verge of death. It's all my fault. I grabbed her by the shoulders and pulled her to me. That's not true, Juno. Believe me, it's not. I would have gone there anyway. I don't know how, but at that moment I felt such rage, such injustice, that I didn't think about anything. You only helped me. Don't blame yourself. It's all my fault. Juno pulled away from me, her helmet expressing only sadness. What is your fault, Raeal? I chuckled and shrugged my shoulders. I have not fulfilled my destiny. I disobeyed the elders. I disobeyed my parents. I wanted to live for myself. But is it possible? Is it right to live for yourself when you are responsible for so many people? I should have realized this earlier, but I was too stupid, too selfish. I wanted everything to revolve around me. I wanted to put my own interest above others. And what did this all result in? Juno looked at me blankly. You really think that you're to blame for everything that happened? Of course, and who else? As soon as I left. But the virus didn't appear as soon as you left. And even so, how could you stop the anomaly? Juno was looking at me with her head tilted to the side as if she really couldn't figure out what I was talking about. I don't know. Maybe it just wouldn't have got to us if it had stayed. It would have gotten to you anyway, Raeal. While I was synthesizing the cure, I learned something about the anomaly. As I suspected, it was created artificially, and it is programmed specifically for your planet. I suspect that each planet had its own anomaly, but back then I thought it was all the same. Wait, what? Somebody is intentionally attacking these planets to wipe out the life on them? Juno smiled sadly. You couldn't stop it, Raeal. Believe me, it was impossible. It would have happened anyway, but you would have died too if you had stayed in your village. So to some extent, your selfishness, or whatever you call it, saved you. I bit my lip from the side, feeling how fast my heart was beating. How everything in my chest was bubbling with disbelief and injustice. But why? Why did I escape? Why would someone need to send an anomaly to our planet? What does it all mean? Juno shrugged her shoulders. I don't know, but maybe you were saved for some More important purpose? I looked at Juno. My heart was beating fast in my chest, aching profusely, painfully contracting. What are you gonna do now? Juno looked away. Don't know. Sorry, but your planet, no one survived. Last time I was there, the whole area was infected. Sorry, Raeal. You're the only survivor. What you're saying is, if I was the last man on Earth, there's a chance. I'm sorry, I saw the opportunity for the joke. I immediately regret it. Oh, she is very tall. Wow, this is the first actual, like, background we get. Look at her! Oh my god! I know this is supposed to be a really sad moment right now, but this is the first time I'm seeing her backside. This news caused confusion and fear in my soul. I couldn't believe everything that had happened to me. But maybe Juno was right. Maybe I really survived for some higher purpose, much more important. Maybe my fate wasn't over yet. My destiny was just ahead. Or maybe it was all just a fairy tale, that there was no destiny, no mission. It was all just a coincidence, which turned out to be easy to believe. Now I could no longer know this. There was no one left who would challenge my words, who would tell me how to do the right thing. The flow of my thoughts was interrupted by a bright, colorful explosion. Did the planet just explode? Juno and I turned to the window. The planet that was my home, on which my parents' bodies were left, shattered into tiny pieces, browning the red light of the anomaly? What? I couldn't make a sound. All the words seemed to get stuck in my throat. Juno and I watched the whole world, though a small one, disintegrate into fragments, dying. Despite how bravely it fought, my heart stopped for a moment. My whole life flashed before my eyes. Childhood, youth, parents' faces, villagers and smiles, the beauty of nature, diversity and uniqueness. None of this existed anymore. Oh, the hands. Oh, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Imagine your entire life. Everything you knew, everything you learned, gone. I reached out and squeezed Juno's hand in mine. A single salty tear rolled down my cheek. I was saying goodbye to my home, to my family, to my past life, to the elders, the neighbors, even to Damien, who, although he was never my friend, still didn't deserve such a face. I promise I will avenge your planet, Raeal. No matter what it costs me, I will do everything. But I will take revenge on those who did this to your house. Juno squeezed my hand tightly in response. I felt the warmth coming from the contact of our palms. Juno was all I had left, and I was glad that she was there. She saved me, and I was eternally grateful to her. I was forever in her debt, and I was ready to give everything, if only she would never regret her choice in life. Thank you, Juno. Will you take me with you? I was afraid to hear her answer. On the one hand, I had nowhere else to go, but on the other, I wanted to stay with her not because I couldn't go anywhere else, but because my home no longer existed, but because that was my destiny, the one I chose for myself. To be with Juno, to spend as much time with her as I was allowed to, and to avenge my home for my family, mom and dad, for my neighbors, for every bit of flora and fauna. Of course, Raeal. Oh, yay! I'm going on space adventures with Miss Juno! We watched the fragments of the planet fly through the space as the ship sailed further into the darkness. Oh my god, that's it! Heart by Zed! Oh my god! You're very welcome! No, that's it? No, ouch! That's it! No answer to the anomaly! Well, my heart hurts, and I am now a sad protogen. But I got to hang out with Juno, and that's all that matters. I got to stay with Juno. Wow. That was actually pretty good. I've never played a visual novel before. I don't know what the standard is for visual novels. If this was shit, I wouldn't know. I enjoyed this. This was... Again, this series was never supposed to happen, so if you guys have been here since the beginning, thank you so much. Thank you for watching, and I really do hope you enjoyed it, but that's gonna be it for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. There's a gallery here. That being said, that is the end of my Furry Protogen. Thank you, everybody, so much for watching this video. I am Raeal the Protogen, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye, everybody! Wagga, 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 wagga.